Hello, my name is Alyssa Johnston, and this is my presentation on collective bargaining. Through my research on collective bargaining, I found that CTEC is unique in that we do not have two separate agreements for certified versus classified staff. Only our certified staff has a union and a negotiated agreement, and across the district, classified staff and administration also follow that agreement. So other issues that the agreement doesn't apply to for classified staff and administration are dealt with through our employee handbook and board policy. So an example of something that would not be in the negotiated agreement necessarily for classified staff would be calling off, sick leave use, personal leave, though those are consistent throughout certified, classified, and administration, evaluations, those types of things. This is a unique situation. I did decide to go ahead and still use CTEC's data to analyze this method and learn more about a one agreement district and what that looks like. And I figured while I was in class, I would capitalize on presentations that have two unions and two separate agreements. One thing I learned through this process that I thought was really unique was that CTEC does interest-based bargaining, and this really, the feedback from administration is this really has improved our negotiations and allowed us to focus on the interests of the students and staff, and rather than just bringing items to the table such as salary increases or length of day. So the first thing we were asked to analyze was employment. What our handbook says is a vacancy shall be, and actually this is in our handbook and in the negotiated agreement, a vacancy shall be any existing or newly created position in the bargaining unit which no unit member holds and which the board or superintendent intends to fill. A vacancy does not include a restructured or renamed position held by the same unit member. So what I found here, if the vacancy occurs in a certified licensed position. So this is addressing specifically certified staff. Including supplemental positions, all staff members will be notified and given 10 days in which to respond in writing, notifying the superintendent of their interest. Again, we're addressing only bargaining unit members requesting a voluntary transfer. And then, should the board desire to change any of the qualifications for a vacant position after the position was posted, the position must be reposted. And then during the period of 10 days before the bargaining, or the beginning of each school year, written notice of vacancies or any changes to qualifications as described in paragraph 6 will be mailed to bargaining unit members. So our contract specifically says if it happens over the summer, we will be mailing the posting, and if it happens during the school year, we will be emailing. With our latest negotiations, we have changed this language quite a bit. But this only applies to the certified staff. Classified staff does not have any such language in the handbook or board policy in terms of a posting period or employment conditions. Back now at teaching conditions, we are looking at the negotiated agreement. Here, teachers employed under regular contract to perform regular teaching duties shall be governed by the following working conditions. It addresses 184 days. Here, classified staff does not have an agreement, and this is not written out specifically. It is unique for each of those staff members. and it is not specifically written out anywhere. So we do address 180 of those days are student instructional days. 2 are for beginning of the school, new teacher orientations, PD, and then we get really specific into teacher work days, how many hours, how many days, lunch period times, uninterrupted planning time, 45 minutes. Reading through this, you can see all of that language. We do not have anything specific for classified staff. The language in our handbook is that all employees will receive a 30-minute uninterrupted lunch. So that includes certified and classified staff. Transfers, responsibility for the assignment and or transfer of instructional support personnel shall be vested in the superintendent, subject to the approval of the Board of Education. So that's written specifically in the handbook. There's not language like that in that same statement in the negotiated agreement. However, what it says is transfers may be made in a position affected by the reduction in force program after the position has been offered to all properly certified licensed teachers on the recall list. So again, I think this is language that was changed in the negotiated agreement this year. Discipline, the negotiated agreement addresses both certified and classified. We use similar policies. All employees are expected to abide by all laws, ordinances, board policies, work rules, district and building regulations. So those are listed. Employees may be disciplined for violating any of those. And the district will make necessary referrals to law enforcement in cases where the law has been violated. Now, our negotiated agreement does list both non-teaching employees and teaching employees. And then you can see this in our board policy. I listed below those. So, non-teaching employees, it does say can be suspended, demoted, or terminated for a violation of the board's written rules or regulations. And then teaching employees, you can see there, it addresses the state law, the Ohio Department of Education, and then terms listed in the negotiated agreement. On to the evaluation process. We do evaluate both certified and classified staff, and we follow a similar timeline and evaluation process for both, though teaching staff, obviously, those are put into OTES, administration OPES, and then our classified staff follows a similar rubric but is not submitted to ODE. Types of leave, these are for, we have all of these leaves for both certified and classified staff. So they are listed here. It does go into, the handbook does go into more specific details on what those are and where they come from. But even as you can see the vacation leave is for classified employees only, but as a classified employee, I also do get professional leave and personal leave and sick leave as the teachers would. And then when I go to compare this to our board policy, what I found is that In the board policy, certified and classified staff are broken down individually by category under professional staff, classified staff, and administration. And then the policies are left very general. Board policy language is either identical to the negotiated agreement and employee handbook, or it's the same conditions, but they aren't quite as specific as the negotiated agreement employee handbook can be. The handbook is updated annually, and the negotiated agreement every 3 years, allowing more specific details to be provided in those documents. And in addition to that, the board policy has items not addressed in the handbook or negotiated agreement. And it does address items that legally are required by law, legislation, or Ohio Revised Code.